Welcome to Spanish 101, Fall 2015. I'm going to do a review on web study and then we're going to go to VHL Central. So I've been getting a lot of emails about how to proceed with the course. So this is the front page of web study. It talks about how we're using the 5th edition and that you have to have a VHL account in order to access this site. And the work is going to be through web study and VHL Central. Now, if you scroll right over here to the About, you click on that. It tells you a little introduction here. Go to the timeline, and in the timeline, you will see another introduction here. This link is, I think, outdated. I'm going to change it. Keep on going down. It still talks about how we're using the 5th edition. Your syllabus is right in here. And that is the code to click on or copy and paste into another web browser. And it's SuperSite plus code WebSan vText practice app. There's the evaluation of the class. Chapters 1 and 2 need to be covered for the midterm, and then 3, 4, and 5 is for the final. And the final is, of course, at the college. Talks about everything that we're covering. All about attendance. You have to be signing in 3 times a week, 2 or 3 times a week. Talks about your grade right over here. Homework is very, very important. And this is just a brief orientation about homework and the assignments and how to give me, little time for me to respond. Useful websites that you'll be using during the course, of course, Web Study, VHL Central. This is what I use to record all of my recordings. This is a very good website about conjugations, and this is also a very good website. If you don't buy the book, you can find information on all the materials that we're covering online. So you have to have access to web study and you have to have access to VHL Central for the super site to do the assignments and the quizzes. Now, I want you to introduce yourself after you read the syllabus, and only after you read the syllabus, because you have to answer these questions, and then send them to me via email. It says right here that Chapter 1 will close around 9/27. I don't put closing dates here because I've learned that students don't get to it on time, it closes, and then I have to start reopening them. I'm telling you right now that Chapter 1 will close around 9/27, so make sure that you're done with Chapter 1 by 9/27. These are the bullet points for Chapter 1. We're going to start very simple. It's all about the articles, definite and indefinites, and how there are masculine and feminine articles. And you have to write everything down. I do suggest that you write everything down. I want you to learn the Spanish alphabet, and this is how I learned the alphabet, which was singing, and how they're pronounced, and it tells you information about the alphabet. This is an assignment. This assignment is for you to record the Spanish alphabet in your voice. I need to hear your voice. This class is not only about writing, it's about speaking as well. Then we have greetings and introductions in Spanish, and from Spanish and English. Here's another one and another assignment. We have numbers in Spanish, and I continue to remind you that you have to complete all the SuperSite assignments in VHL Central, which I will show you in a bit. Then the numbers and just information for you to read and review and to write down. I want you to write down all the numbers in a notebook or something. Then it talks all about ser, which is the verb to be. The verb to be in Spanish has 2 forms, 2 different forms with 2 different uses. It has their own little section, which is ser and estar. We're going to start with ser right now. And there's a form here, uses of ser, and record a conjugation of the verb ser. I want you to actually record you saying the conjugation of the verb and list the uses of ser. That's your assignment. Then we talk about telling time. Again, it's all about telling time. You need to go to your tutorials and to the website, which I will show you. And that is Chapter 1. So before I even go to Chapter 2, I'm going to go to VHL Central and show you what it looks like. Now, you are registering for Spanish 101 online. This is my student ID. I created a fake student ID, and the class is under Spanish 101 online homework. So it's the homework section. Now, when you see this, you can click through this and go to, the dates and whatever, highlight these guys and just pop them up, or you can go to content, which is the easiest ways. Click on activities. The next page will pop up and it'll show you everything that is dated is what's due. So you have to complete those. So we have in contextos, we have in fotonovela a little bit, and then we have estructura. Estructura. You can click through all of them. For example, if I click on pronunciación, and then of course the internet's a little slow, but I'll be going through this quickly. Nothing has a due date. That means I didn't assign it. So you keep on clicking through. You got estructura, 101, all the contextos and all the estructura, fotonovela, and recapitulación is going to be assigned. So we have contextos, fotonovela, estructura punto 1, punto 2, punto 3, punto 4, recapitulación, repaso, because that's a review, and only what is assigned is what you're going to complete. Okay, so if it has a due date, it is due. Those are the due dates. 9:19, telling time, 9:20. Now, you see where it says tutorial here? There's a tutorial. So when you click on it, you're going to see what I'm talking about. This is going to talk all about telling time in Spanish, and this is what I write in there for you to listen to the tutorial a few times. It's not loading. It takes a little bit for it to load. Let me go to a different one. My internet's a little slow, I apologize. It's not going anywhere right now. I'm so sorry. Now it is stuck.
Oh,
this is what
hello.
A tutorial looks like.
I thought it was time for my show. But since you're here, let's talk about telling time. To tell time in Spanish, you'll use two things you already know: the verb ser and numbers. First, to ask what time it is, use ¿qué hora es? To give the time, use es la with una or son las with all other hours.
So that's what a tutorial looks like, and in every section you're going to have tutorials. So you should look for the tutorial, click on it, and that's what I want you to listen to a couple of times until you memorize it. Take notes in your notebook, make sure that you write everything down. This class is independent, so you have to be on ball with everything. Now, the next part I want to show you is where the quizzes are located. So we're still in chapter 1. By the way, we do chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You just click over here to this arrow and all of them start to pop up. So you go back to content and you go to assessment. And here are the assessments. This is from chapter 1, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 2, chapter 2, chapter 2. So the only thing that you're doing is going into activities and assessment, and you're filling out the information and completing the assignments. You don't have to go anywhere else to do the work. You can look at your grades over here. You can actually look at the calendar and do it that way. It's a little more complicated. I don't suggest doing it that way. I suggest going to content, activities, and assessment, and you're good to go. Here are resources and vocabulary tools. Click on everything. There's so much information to help you, so make sure that you take advantage of that. I'm going to go back to the course, and again, you can do it through here, but I don't recommend doing it through here. I'm not going to start on this because I'm not an actual student, but that's how you would start. Start your 8 activities. It'll take about 35 minutes to complete them, and then you can keep on going. Okay, so back to web study. So same thing with chapter 2. Chapter 2 closes before the midterm. That's just an announcement to make sure that you read it. Here's a vocabulary to learn for Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. Write everything down a couple of times so you don't make mistakes in VHL, because if you make a mistake spelling-wise in VHL, it's going to mark everything wrong. And then it's a waste of time. So that's why it's better to practice. Practice makes perfect. You've got information about your Spanish vowels. Then you've got your AR verbs. That's the first verb ending that we teach in Spanish, AR. And a little Q&A over here about HR. Then AR verbs, and then forming questions in Spanish, and how we form questions in Spanish, all that information. Make sure that you write everything down in your notebook so you're not going back to this constantly. And then gustar, which is I like, and the present tense of estar, which is our another to be verb. So here are the materials up to the midterm. Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 is up to the midterm. In web study you have some assignments, and in VHL Central. Now, the chapter tests for VHL Central will pop up on their due dates, and the chapter tests in web study will pop up also on their due dates. So just so you know, everything will pop up in its time. So that is the tutorial of what you're supposed to do in web study and VHL Central. It's very simple. Don't need to panic. Everything's going to be okay. If you have any questions, you just reach out to me via email and we're good to go. Okay? I hope that helped. Thank you.